Okay, you guys are live.
Okay, three, two, one, and we are live. Hi, good afternoon, and welcome again to Jazaris Engineers Networks. In this series of talks, we are going to present about our senior engineers in the aviation industry. So earlier in this morning, we had a veteran in the aviation industry, and today, this afternoon, we are having Mr. Khidir Yusoff, who is has undergone a traineeship as a licensed aircraft engineer. Yeah, so a bit about his background. So Mr. Khidir Yusoff, after taking his diploma in aerospace avionics from Republic Polytechnic, he went on to a traineeship program for the licensed aircraft engineers. And so thank you again for joining us today, Mr. Khidir Yusoff. So this traineeship program, from what we understand, is a long commitment, and so we are also curious for the first question of today, lah. Like, where are you right now, and how has your journey been so far to get to where you are?
Right now, I'm practicing as a licensed aircraft engineer at a company called ST Aerospace Services Company. And sorry, your second question, I forgot your
Yeah.
second question.
All right. So my second question is, how has your journey been so far? Like, from your graduation from Republic Polytechnic, how did you
Mhm.
get to where you are right now?
Oh, okay. So it's quite a long journey, for to be honest, because during my time when I graduated from Republic Poly was in the year 2009. Then I served my national service. So after that 2 years, I tried to apply for a lot of jobs, and actually during that time it was the economy would just recover from recession, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
Mm,
it was quite hard to get a job. So by
Mm.
chance, I managed to contact a friend of mine who is actually working already inside ST Aerospace, and he asked me to use his name as a referral so that I can join the traineeship program. And Alhamdulillah, I managed to secure a job there. But looking at the terms and conditions, it's an 8-year bond. So when signing the papers, I feel a bit scared because the commitment, you need to have that commitment for 8 years, and 8 years is not a short period of time. It's quite a long journey. So I asked from my parents, and I asked also from inputs from my friends whether this thing is it a good prospect, is it a good career path for me, is it a stepping
mm,
stone. And I also did solat istihara to make sure that I make the right decision. And Alhamdulillah, after doing all that, I realized that I think I am up for it. So I just go with it. And Alhamdulillah, after 8 years, I managed to get to where I am right now through perseverance. Because when during the traineeship, it's not easy to pass the papers. First thing first, the papers when you want to take, you have to meet at least 75% and above to pass the aviation papers. So we have about 13 modules during the first 2 years we have to pass. So what I went through was that I went to the training school being conducted in ST Aerospace, the company, for 2 years. So we took 13 modules over the period of 2 years, and from there we have to learn everything from whatever you learn in polytechnic. You have to kind of like recall back and refer back to your notes and try to how to say apply in your knowledge to pass the test. So it's like going through exam all over again. Yeah, so
Mm.
you have to have that basic theory of aviation before they will send you um, to the hangar to hands on the aircraft. So
Mhm.
after 2 years, after you pass all of your 13 modules, then I was being sent down to the hangar to do on-job training to familiarize with myself with the toolings that I need to use, the job in hand, how to carry out the job properly, and from there you can roughly know. From there, it actually prepares you to be an aircraft engineer after you get your license. So from there, that is where you get your real training and hands-on the job. So after passing out and you go to the hangar and do your training, do your on-job training. On-job training meaning be on the site and work on the aircraft. It will take about 2 years. Then they will call you up for interview for your licensing of the aircraft engineer. After
Mm.
they see that you are capable enough to carry out the engineer work. Yeah, so it's basically like you start from scratch and slowly build up your experience over the years of over the period of 4 years before the company finally see that okay, I think you are good enough to be interviewed for your licensing of the aircraft engine. Yeah, so after that, after going through 2 years of training and 2 years of on the job, I went through the interview, and I tell you, the interview process is not easy as you think it is, because they will ask you everything about the plane, and anything under the sun they can ask you, be it for electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, everything. So you need to really understand and need to try to pick up as much as you can when you are on the floor on the hangar.
Mhm.
Try to learn as much as you can, try to ask questions, because honestly, once you are on the hangar, nobody's going to teach you, nobody's going to spoon feed you, so you have to make the effort to ask. If you don't ask, people will not know what you don't know, so you have to keep asking, and every day is a learning process during the period of 2 years on inside the hangar.
Mhm.
So yeah, from there I slowly gain my experience and gain more knowledge about all the system of the aircraft, and alhamdulillah, after that they sent me for the interview, and I managed to answer most of the questions, not all, but most of the questions. And
Oh,
after that, they see that I am capable to carry out my licensing as an aircraft engineer, and they
Yeah.
issue me a booklet, a licensing booklet. So once
Okay.
you get this licensing booklet, it shows that you are certified to perform your job as an aircraft engineer. Yeah,
Okay.
and currently, as of now, I'm still working over there as an aircraft engineer. Yeah,
mm.
Alhamdulillah.
so it's a
But
long
So
process.
this booklet, is it like something like you only licensed to service certain type of aircraft, or is it like a whole array of aircraft? Like
This one we are only licensed to really how to say, to practice on only certain types of aircraft. Depend on the courses that the company send you. So for
mm,
my for myself, they send me for Airbus 320 and a Boeing 777 type course. They call it the
mm,
type course. So after
mm,
passing the exams, it's also a type of exam. So you have to pass, you have to take papers, and you have to know the knowledge of the certain type of aircraft that you take during the course. So after you pass out from that, they will allow you to work on that type of aircraft after you went through the exams. Yeah. So
okay.
and that's how the company will pay you based on the type of planes that you went through, the type course. The type course that you went through, they will pay you accordingly. Yeah. So for
okay,
myself, they paid me a certain amount for this A320 type course, and for Boeing 777, they also pay additional amount for that type course. So altogether, it's inclusive in your pay lah. Yeah. So
mm.
that's how they do it.
Mm,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Mm.
So
Interesting.
I assume if you are more, if you have expertise in more things in your
Yes.
license, that means you be paid a lot more lah.
Yes, correct. If you have more type
Okay.
courses, you take more type courses, you will get paid obviously more lah. Yeah.
for
Okay,
yourself
okay.
personally, are you planning to take any more type courses throughout your career?
Actually, I was hoping that the company would send me for at least an Airbus 330, because it's right now it's quite a hit in the market, and
Uh,
also for the latest one, Airbus 350.
okay.
But right now, because of the situation, the pandemic, so it's a bit hard to say. So
Mm,
I'm just hoping
Mm,
for being sent to this kind of courses.
okay.
It's a good investment.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I have a question from the viewers on our
Huh?
YouTube live. There's a question about the qualifications. Like, I think there was a recent change in the requirements of the program. So maybe we
Okay.
could just clarify that whether to join this program, there's a difference between getting a degree or a diploma for this traineeship. Yeah.
I see. Okay. For based on when I entered the company back in 2011,
Yeah.
I only have a diploma certificate from Republic Poly.
Mm.
So as of now, there is still no requirements that you have to get a degree. Even a diploma in any basic electrical engineering course, you are able to actually apply for this traineeship program. So
Oh,
there
okay.
is
Okay.
no
Mm,
so there is no boundary between diploma or degree holders, except for the pay. The starting pay for a degree holder is slightly higher by, if I am not mistaken, by $200, the basic pay.
mm,
Okay. The basic pay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
That's the only
yeah,
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see, I see.
All right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I may move on to the next question of our interview. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so in terms of what are your current interests in terms of the engineering specializations that you are planning to do in the near future?
My current
Uh,
interest.
yeah. So, what are your current interests in terms of the engineering specializations you are planning to pursue in the near future? I think just now you mentioned briefly about um, wanting to go for different type of different
Yes.
type courses, different course
Mhm.
types. Is it? Yeah.
Yes, correct. So for myself, personally, I still want to be the aviation sector,
Yeah.
and I would love to learn more latest planes like, for example, Boeing 787 or Airbus 350. But currently, from what I can see, the market is on Airbus 350. Boeing is not so much because of the recent incidents that happened the previous years.
Mm.
So I assume lah. I mean, based on my gut feeling that I would prefer a latest Airbus type course, like for example A350. Yeah, I'm hoping on that. That is
Okay.
my interest. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Zafi, do you have any questions?
Yeah, actually, I have a question from one of my friends who is currently pursuing his LE certification
I
with
see.
SIA. He asked whether it's like what was your experience when you released your first aircraft for a flight? So
Oh,
yeah, so
okay.
like
Wow.
how do you feel?
Oh, wow. Okay. The first time the first aircraft that I actually released was an Airbus 320. So after I let the aircraft release certified for airworthiness,
Mhm.
I feel a bit nervous, honestly. At night I couldn't sleep. Yeah, so I keep overthinking of the things that I do, whether I perform it as per the requirements, whether I really follow the manuals accordingly, did I miss out anything? Every single thing comes to my mind. So then I just have to radar je lah, because you did your best.
Yeah.
You've done your job proper, and you believe that whatever training that is being taught to you by the company, you're making it to good use. So you have to feel confidence about yourself.
You rely on the
It's not,
training lah.
yes, you rely whatever that you have learned, make sure you put it into what you are doing right now. And you don't have that how to say don't have second thoughts, because you know that whatever you have been trained for, this is what you will be doing, and you are doing accordingly as per the manual, and you just have to be confident of yourself whenever you do your job. Yeah.
Mm.
So I feel nervous honestly on that night after work.
Have you ever
Okay.
come
Alhamdulillah,
across
everything.
any macam incidents
Oh,
that make
there's quite a
people?
few.
There's quite a
There's quite a
few.
few.
Is
Yes.
there
I don't know whether
anything that you can share, or
I
or
don't
is
know
a
whether is it
privacy
appropriate to
issue?
disclose. I think I'm not sure whether is it appropriate to disclose about this, because
Yeah.
it's a company reputation kind of
Yeah.
thing. So it's a
Ah,
bit
okay,
That's
hard
okay.
to
true.
say.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
safe
if
to
the
say, I
things,
mean, there's a very high risk to releasing the aircraft lah. I mean,
yes,
Yeah,
things do go wrong sometimes lah. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, it's human error. Most of the time,
Mhm.
it's human error. We fail to look properly. We fail to ask another engineer of us to help check, because certain jobs require additional engineers to help and make sure that the thing is being carried out properly. So there is always a backup system in aviation industries to make sure that we can eliminate all these human errors. So sometimes we miss out these kind of things due to time constraint, because sometimes planes, when they come in, they must make sure they meet the certain days, and they have to leave the hangar by the certain days, because any additional days will incur cost on the airline. So all these factors come in, and sometimes this stress will affect how you perform your job. So that's how incidents happen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So have to be
So
worried of that.
learning to deal with the external stresses lah, basically.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned briefly also about how the pandemic situation is changing the aviation industry that we know as of now. So I would like to ask, in the future, what are the hopes that you have for, firstly, for yourself, and also for the young Malay engineers out there, who are hoping to pursue this field. And what do you think about the situation after COVID-19? Yeah.
Okay, so as of now, currently, because of this COVID-19 situations, Alhamdulillah, my company still bring in planes, but most of it is cargo planes. compared to passenger planes.
Cargo
Yeah,
planes.
because cargo planes, they have to ship items all over the world, so it's still ongoing. And alhamdulillah, my company is still pushing on that lah currently. So as of now, I think everything is still okay for my side. But in the future, I hope that those young engineers that are aspiring to be where I am right now, they have they need to have that passion to learn. Because if you don't have that passion to know about things, when you come to work, you will not be motivated. And then whenever there's a problem that comes to you, you wouldn't know what to do. You will be like, oh no, I'm facing a problem. What do I do? What do I do? You'll be like stuck. Because if you are like that, you need to learn how to overcome that situation. So for me, for my advice to those young aspiring engineers, they have to don't be spoon-fed by people. Go out and ask questions. Whatever you don't know, ask questions. If you keep things to yourself and you do a wrong thing and nobody knows, then it will lead to incidents. Yeah. So that's my advice. Don't wait to be spoon-fed. Go out and ask. That is the most important thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So what your hopes for these young engineers? Like where do you see our young engineers heading towards in the future? Yeah.
For me personally, from what I can see, young engineers may shift to more of e-learning kind of procedure. Like if you went for training instead of having a instructor teaching you, showing you where is the area or what, it will be more towards virtual reality, such as because my company, from what I heard, they are actually implementing this thing called the VR, where you put in this Google Glass, this thing. I'm not sure what it's called. So when you fix it on your head, and then when you look around, you can see the area of the particular aircraft. So you don't have to be there. Yes, you don't have to be.
Wow.
You don't have to be physically on the plane. So you can actually learn at the comfort of the classroom. So yeah, from there I can see that it's a good thing lah. Like you don't have to. You provide a conducive environment to learn. So it's shifting more towards e-learning. Yeah. So that is to me that is a good thing. I make use of technology to facilitate how you learn and how you gain experience and knowledge about the particular aircraft.
And I'm guessing that will be an industry in itself also, right? I mean, there must be vendors who provide the 3D modeling, who provide these gears, who provide these kits to the aircraft itself, to the companies itself.
Say that. I have another question actually. So a lot of things that people are curious about is what it's like to climb the ladder, the so-called corporate ladder. So what is career progression like as an LAE?
Okay, as of an LAE, from what I was told when I first entered, I actually did ask the company the same question. What they told me was that the ex-CEO of my company used to be an LAE himself. So they say that it is not impossible to go up the ranks, but if you want to make it to like manager level or corporate level, or maybe inshallah CEO of the company, you need to you need to show that you are really passionate about what you are doing, and you need to like I say, you need to have that knowledge and that capability and that problem solving skills, so that people, whenever they face a problem, you know that you can solve the problem easily. And from there, the managers will see that okay, this engineer is a good engineer. He is able to complete all of his tasks and able to overcome any kind of obstacle, any kind of problems in the workplace. And from there, you will get recognition. Yeah. So from there, slowly you will grow up. It's not impossible. It's possible. Yeah. And personally, at my company, there's one project manager. He used to be an LAE, but after showing how he performed and his exemplary actions and how he's able to solve all these kind of problems, he was promoted to a project manager soon after. He's a Malay. Yeah. So it's not impossible. It's possible.
Good to hear. Because we always hear stories about how engineers get stuck. So nice to know actually that it is possible to go all the way up.
Yes, it is possible.
Yeah. Okay. So what's your future plan in the aviation industry, other than, for example, is there like teaching a way for you to share your knowledge, become like an instructor in the future, or do you have
Yes.
like do you have like the kind of like feeling that you want to maybe pursue that in the future, or maybe whatever things that you might be interested in the future?
Okay.
You want to share?
For me personally, after getting my license as an aircraft engineer, I would actually prefer to be an instructor because to me, I love to teach. I love to guide young engineers or trainee engineers, like how to do things and how to, what are the things to look out for, what are the dangers, what are the problems that you can overcome, what is the solutions for the problems. Because for me, it's just me. I just love to teach. So I was actually hoping to be an instructor in the near future
Yeah.
to guide young aspiring engineers.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Okay, okay, okay. Adi, do you have any other questions that you'd like to share?
Uh, not from no, not from sorry, not from my side.
Actually, now we spoke earlier about the current climate with the even industry climate doesn't look too bright right now. But the thing is, I'm quite sure there are many of our young engineers, especially those who are still in polytechnic or still in university, they have always dreamed about becoming an aircraft engineer. So, like, I mean, while you earlier you said something like they should always have the hunger to learn, and
Yes.
but I mean, like, what kind of advice would you give other than have that hunger to learn? Like, with this, what kind of hopes that you have for our young engineers, and maybe for yourself, with the to face the current prospects for the current climate with COVID-19?
For me, I hope that in the near future, um, there is how to say it, the market for aviation industry will grow, and that there will be more opportunities for young Malay engineers to enter into this industry and pursue what they are interested on, which is aviation. So
Mm.
I'm just hoping that Singapore government will expand the aviation hub in Singapore to allow
Mm.
Okay.
more individuals that are interested in
Yeah.
this industry to enter. Yeah, that is
Mm.
my
Mm.
hope.
Mm.
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 What do you think was the biggest obstacle for graduates from polytechnic to enter into the LAE? What are the biggest obstacles that they might face, and how can we help to overcome them? Yeah.
Okay, the biggest obstacle that I feel that they have to face is the competition from a lot of other students that went for other aviation courses, because sometimes the amount of people that enter through the courses is overly demanded, meaning there's surplus of graduates that the industry doesn't need. So to me, it's a competition with all the other students that also graduate at the same time, and to overcome this is actually best to have those working inside the company to use his or her name as a referral. So to
As a
overcome the
referral.
obstacle,
Okay.
yes, it's better. It's better that way. There's a higher chances of you getting into the company if you have a referral name. Yeah.
Okay. So actually, networking is extremely important.
Yes, important, very important.
Because it's personally, my experience with some of our younger engineers, they don't know that networking is extremely important in order for you to secure a job.
Yes,
So
correct.
yeah, I mean, I think just to share one of the ideas for this Jazari Engineers Network is to actually link up the young engineers with the older engineers so that they can network better. Because I mean,
I see.
for example, we the younger engineers like me and Ideal, we don't really know who is really out there. So that's the idea of having this.
Yeah,
But it's good to know that, I
that's good.
mean, you highlighted that getting to know people
Yes,
to be in part of the referral process to actually get into the
yes.
company. It actually that helps a lot. Yeah,
It helps a lot.
quite interesting.
Agree.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Hmm. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our young engineers who may be tuning in today?
Mm, anything else that I want to say, share based on my experience? Okay. How to say? Okay. For my personally, for me, my advice is don't give up. If you really are interested in aviation, just keep on applying for those new graduates. Just pursue and keep on trying to apply. And
Yeah.
best is to expand your network. Don't just wait for the newspaper to come out the job ads. You have to go out and reach them, like make make networking, like for example this Zoom meeting is a good form of communication to those who are actually currently working in the industry to get referrals so that you can secure a job in the future. So yeah, for me, networking for the younger generation is very, very important. They need to have good networking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, bro Khidir. There's actually a question that came in from YouTube Live. So, the poly students. This comment comes from the one of the our viewers. So it says that nowadays, poly students, they end up as a technician. Is it still possible for poly students to be an engineer? Like, could you give your comments on that?
Okay.
Reviewing what you have actually said earlier. Yeah.
This one, it actually depends on the policy of the company. For
Mm.
my company in ST Aerospace, they actually, it will be harder for you to get in an engineer program if you already enter as a technician. So best is don't join as a technician. Try your best to keep on applying as a trainee
So
engineer. Yeah.
LAE should be your yeah.
Yes, at
Okay,
least should be
okay.
your goal in mind. Don't apply as a
Yeah.
technician.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it will be
So
harder.
Interesting.
because
Interesting.
from what I understood also, like you took you had a previous job. Was it that you had a previous job as well before you
Oh
applied as
yes,
an LAE? Yeah.
yes, that was a temporary job. I was working under Pratt and Whitney doing pneumatic tubing lines, which is a
Okay.
very mundane job, a very boring job. Because what you have to do, the job scope is just that I have to cut the tubing and make sure that it's at a specific dimensions, and that's all. That's all I do. Just
Oh, okay.
Oh,
cut tubing.
okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the pay is quite low. So I'm just using that as a like temporary job while
Right.
waiting for my
Right.
actual job in ST
I
Aerospace.
Oh,
see. I
okay.
see. So
Okay.
LAE has always been like your final goal in mind lah, kira kan.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh, it makes sense now that you already said earlier that if you really want it, just go for it. Don't go
Yes,
for
go for
something
it.
as low. Yeah,
Don't
makes
stop
sense.
for technician, guys. Don't stop for
Uh,
technician. You just straight away apply for trainee aircraft engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh,
So
okay,
yeah,
that's interesting.
you also
You're
mentioned
good.
during this process, right? There's an interview process. Some people will pass the interview, some people will not pass the interview. What's
Yes.
the attrition rate, and like what happens to these people yang tak pass the interview, for example?
Okay, so those who pass the interview, they will end up just like me, like licensed aircraft engineer.
Mm.
But those who didn't make it or failed to make it, the company actually allows you to, they will give you a time frame for you to try again. And if you still couldn't make it through that time frame, the time frame varies. It's not specific. It's not very specific like 2 or 3 months. It varies according to whether you really want to pursue being an aircraft engineer or not. If you still want to pursue, the company is willing to give you the time for you to learn and get back your knowledge and try again
Right.
for the interview. But those who didn't make it, they actually will be downgraded to a senior technician in the company, and the
Okay.
basic will be slightly lower than an assistant engineer during the traineeship program. Yeah, so
Okay.
they'll be
Okay.
downgraded. Yeah.
Once you are downgraded, is there a possibility for you to still be an LAE if you decide to go for it?
Once you are downgraded, that also depends. If the company it always depends on the company, because the company policy for those who didn't make it is
Yeah.
always changing. So it's very hard to say. It
Okay.
depends on
Mm.
whether the quality department is whether they are able to have that time to conduct the interview, whether the managers have that time to conduct the interview, whether is it a
Okay.
high time period. Yeah, it
Yeah.
depends. It varies.
Yeah. So it all goes back to your first advice lah. Aim for the start
Yes,
lah.
correct. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Must be persevere. You must persevere through. It's not
Believe
easy.
in
Honestly,
yourself.
it's not easy.
Believe in yourself.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Allah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, we've already come to 5:30 already. I just so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So
So
fast.
yeah, the time actually feel quite fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It did.
yeah. Actually, thank you so much. So I mean, trying to wrap up. So thank you so much, Hida, for sharing with us today.
You're
Just to
welcome.
wrap up, basically the main advice that you have for our young engineers is to make sure they network with people, because that's actually a
Yes.
very good avenue for them to get into the company, or at least the interview
Correct.
phase. And then
Yes. Correct.
also at the same time is that if you really want to become an LAE, then they have to really persevere for it and not to settle for something that is second best. So in your case, it's a
Yes.
very good example is that you were working in Pratt and Whitney, but you were not really, that's not something that you wanted to do. And then you went all in
Exactly.
with LA and alhamdulillah, you actually reached that goal. So that's
Yeah.
something that I believe,
Yeah.
I'm personally inspired, right? It was, wow, mashallah, it's like, that's
So
something that's really,
yeah. And so
because
inshallah for any
for anyone who's actually
that's right.
tuning in as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So inshallah for any of our young engineers who are currently facing any setbacks in life, like feeling that they are in a lull period, feeling like alamak, this COVID situation really set me back by a few years. Don't worry. If brother Khidir Yusoff has done it, you can do it as well, inshallah. And
inshallah.
see what he has achieved so far. Inshallah, it will be an inspiration to you. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess we can end the session here. So thank you so much, Khidir, for sharing with us again.
Yeah,
So
you're welcome.
we'll perhaps in the future, if our paths were to cross, we will say hi and maybe we can actually continue this talk again. So and
Okay,
maybe if
definitely.
anyone, yeah, don't be surprised if let's say for example in the future we were to have a networking session once this COVID problems is done, right? So we can actually probably have a networking session where people can meet and maybe you can come along as well. And then I'm quite sure there'll be some engineers, youngsters, young graduates, or maybe people from polytechnic as well who would like to talk to you and talk to you about your journey and maybe how to pursue this journey as well. So inshallah,
Inshallah.
we inshallah our paths will cross again in the
Inshallah.
future. Okay, so with that, I guess we can actually close this session. So if there's anything else that Khidir, would you like to say any last word for us?
Any last words, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Okay, just those guys, especially those who just graduates, don't give up. Okay, yang penting, the most important thing is we have to persevere through. Even though this pandemic is there, it can be a good thing. We must always be positive, always think positive, and always believe in yourself that you can achieve and aim far.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Inshallah.
that is solid advice
Inshallah.
right there.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much, Brother Khidir. With that,
Okay, thank
Assalamualaikum.
you.
Assalamualaikum
Waalaikumsalam.
warahmatullahi. Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure whether. Oh, okay. So
Okay.
I'm not sure whether
We should.
actually
Oh wait.
how do I do this?
I think we should message to me to bring us
Yeah,
offline.
I'm going to stop recording here.
Yeah. Okay. Myself as well. But
Okay.
whether we are offline or not depends on me.
Yeah, because I'm not sure. It says here it's still live. But I'm not sure
Yeah.
this.
Mine shows the same as well. So
Yeah, so I'm not sure it's still streaming. But yeah, interesting
yeah,
session.
that was just, I think that was great. Like, I think the theme that came up to into this topic is still persistence, gung ho.
Yeah,
Earlier in
yeah,
the morning, it
gung
was
ho.
all about our speaker was just saying about don't be jangan malu-malu, just send out your resume to like vice president or managing director pun tak kisah. Just at least get yourself out there and make your presence known lah. And then I think here apa ni Khidir was also saying about not not having a negative attitude, like having a positive attitude towards everything.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
I think that advice really applies well to to any engineer to whatever industry in general.
Even
Because I think
non-engineers, like
they're
anyone.
non-engineers. I don't know. I can only speak for engineers because I'm an engineer myself, right? But yeah, I think it was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know about you, but what I realized is that a lot of engineers, I mean, especially Malay engineers that I've met, who when I say engineers, I mean those undergrads
Mm.
and also people from polytechnic. They tend to be too shy to actually speak to engineers who have made it, who are already working as engineers.
I see.
So and like it's a bit it's quite understandable lah. Everybody's a bit shy to talk to someone that how
Yeah.
to talk to them.
I think a big part of it is also macam this feeling of macam you are not good enough or you don't know what to talk about to them as well.
Yeah.
So like I don't know how we can address this question. Like how do we make ourselves prepared to talk to
talk to someone that is who
if there
has
was
made it.
if there was like a preparation kit. Okay, step A, step B.
Hey, that's actually a good idea, you know. Like how to ask someone how to ask someone how to talk to someone in a
network.
networking session. How to
How to
network.
prepare yourself for networking. I'm sure
Yeah, I
there's
think
a lot of
I'm sure
resources.
engineers will need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not you, not you.
No, I still get
Charismatic.
a bit awkward. I mean, I think you do better networking than I do, honestly. I've seen you talk to random people, and I think you handle it way better than I do. So,
Yeah, there are times also when I'm not prepared as well. So
okay. Wait, let me try Ustream. Not sure it's still live. Did you try to? Oh wait, it's still live.
I didn't. I didn't. So I don't know. We could still be online for all we know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, if it's still online.
Let's check.
Oh man, I forgot. There's another guy who asked. I'll friend of mine here. He says, I think the issue is that there isn't a day in life of an LEE. That's actually something that we could have asked earlier.
Apanya? Can you repeat?
What's the day in the life?
What's a day in the life?
Yeah, the LEE. Yeah. Well, maybe if anyone who's still tuning in right now, maybe they can ask in the future for the future networking session. Okay. Anyway, I think we can just leave the meeting. So if we leave the meeting, then automatically that means
let's do that.
I think they won't do. So yeah. So thanks so much.
Okay. Bye bye.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. It's great to have you, man.
Have you too.
Okay, bye bye.